Monica Lewinsky, Beanie Feldstein, is called to testify in the Paula Jones, Anneli Ashford, lawsuit in Tuesday's new episode of Impeachment, American Crime Story. Last week's episode, The Telephone Hour, ended with literary agent Lucianne Goldberg, Margot Martindale, telling George Conway, George Salazar, about Monica Lewinsky, and puts her on the witness list for the Paula Jones trial. This week's episode, dubbed Do You Hear What I Hear, showing Linda Tripp's, Sarah Paulson, carefully constructed web of deceit starting to unravel all around her. The episode begins in December 1997 in Washington, D.C. At a bar, where a couple of guys recognize Monica Lewinsky and one approaches her, Jake Tapper. He asks to buy her a drink but she said she was going to go get dinner, when he tells her they have world-famous Tex-Mex food. They have dinner as Monica admits she's been myopic about her time in D.C., and she has a job interview in New York. She says she's been a bit of a D.C. zombie, and she's waking up now. When the check arrives she asks to split it but he insists to pay for it because it's a date. Back at work, Monica tells Linda she's going to get the dress cleaned for her job interview, which worries Linda. She calls Lucianne, who gets worried and tells Linda that she has to stop Monica from getting the dress cleaned. Linda calls Monica and tells her not to wear it to an interview, and she thinks it would be smart to keep it, in case she may need it years down the line. Monica says that she will never come forward and she shouldn't need to worry about proving the identity. Monica says she knows she looks good in the blue dress. But Linda lies and says she looks heavy in that dress, saying the peach suit she has is exquisite. Judge Kenneth Starr, Dan Bacadal, arrives for a deposition, apologizing for being late and then reading a Bible verse in front of the lawyers. Starr asks if they have enough to recommend impeachment, but they think there isn't quite enough, though Jackie doesn't want to quit. Starr adds that they convicted 12 people around the Clintons but none of them could flip on the Clintons, as Starr makes it clear they believe he is guilty, but they don't have enough evidence to prove it after 4 years. They take a vote among them all, and none think there is enough. Clinton is getting grilled by his team, to get an idea of what he can expect, but he gets frustrated and says, "I bet Kennedy didn't have to deal with this st." His team said, that was the 60s, which angers Clinton, who rattles off all of the female cabinet members, adding, "No one supports women more than me." Bill calls Monica at 2:33 a.m., as she smiles and tells him she was awake, but she was sleeping. He tells her that he saw the witness list for the Paula Jones lawsuit, saying that she was on there. He says that she might not have to show up, just have a lawyer draw up an affidavit, and she says that she would say nothing ever happened. Monica is holiday shopping with Linda, saying she can't stop thinking about her name being on that list, adding it's unthinkable to answer questions about him. Linda says she got a subpoena, and she thought to mention it, but she knew Monica would freak out, which she does. Monica asks her to lie about everything but Linda says she cannot commit perjury, which upsets Monica. Back in Little Rock, Arkansas, Paula Jones visits with her mother Delmer, Janetta Arnett, with Susie, Judith Light. Her mother is confused about what's happening, as Paula says she is doing her deposition before the trial. Her mother said she heard she was offered money to settle, but Susie says there is no settlement without an apology. Her mother is worried about her, But Paula says she'll be okay and she has people looking out for her, but mother says to watch out for her. The story cuts to Van Buren, Arkansas, where Beverly Lambert, Carol Louise, and Rick visit a woman named Juanita Broderick, who had another experience with the president. Rick makes it clear that they're all Christian lawyers, but she still doesn't want to participate, saying she's a businesswoman and she doesn't want to get involved. They start to leave when she adds that Paula Jones is telling the truth. Back in Little Rock, Paula is in her deposition, as Robert Bennett, Christopher McDonald, introduces himself as Bill Clinton's lawyer. She asks how long she was in the room before he exposed his penis, and she said 5 or 6 minutes. Robert starts grilling her about how many male penises she's seen, as another lawyer asks if he knows a man named Dennis Kirkland. The lawyer says this man said, under oath, testified he performed oral sex and she had sex with 3 other men, but Paula is flustered since that's not true. Paula comes back to Susie, who says she's sorry but adds they have no idea how hard it's going to get for him. Back at her office, Monica gets served a subpoena and goes to visit Linda at her house during her Christmas party as she chats with her daughter Allison, Emma Mouseolf, briefly. Monica really needs to talk to Linda, but she's busy hosting the party, as Monica not so patiently waits for her. She studies all of the dolls and collectibles that Linda has in her home during the whole party before stomping over and telling him she got a subpoena. They chat in her car and it says they have the hairpin in the affidavit, meaning someone told them something, but Monica says the only ones who know are her closest friends. Linda says she's worried too, but she needs to talk to her lawyer before she does anything, adding, "Merry Christmas, Monica," before leaving the car. Monica visits Vernon Jordan, Blair Underwood, with the subpoena, who says they will focus on 2 questions, about having sexual relations with Bill Clinton. He sends her to a lawyer and she signs the affidavit just before Christmas Day. Linda is watching her kids opening presents when she gets a call from Monica, and she decides to ignore it. Monica leaves a message saying she just wants to wish her a Merry Christmas and just wanted to talk and see if she made a decision. Monica's boss Kenneth Bacon, Jim Rash, says some kind words for Monica on her last day, as Monica rushes up to Linda and asks what she's going to do. Linda says they can talk later because she is going to see her lawyer later. Linda goes to see her lawyer, who hands over his tapes, but he tells her that Virginia is a 2-consent state, and she could go to jail. Linda calls Lucianne, who says she just has to find a way to get her immunity from prosecution. She said she needs to make some calls. Lucianne calls George Conway, telling him they need to make Paula's lawyers aware of Linda's trip as fast as they can. Monica goes to see Bill before the big move, who showers her with random gifts, one of which is a bear, which symbolizes courage. "When you need to be strong, just hold him close," Bill says. Monica says that she can't accept the gifts because of the subpoena, and Bill asks if she signed the subpoena. He asks if her friend in the Pentagon knows about them and she says she doesn't and she's not really her friend anymore. Bill says this will be a crazy story she'll tell her grandkids someday, but she says he was more than a crazy story. He promises to call when she gets settled, and she says she knows she shouldn't say this, but, "You are my whole world." He kisses her on the forehead and says, "Good luck in New York. Be good," before she leaves the Oval Office for the last time before Bill gets back to work. Impeachment is based on Jeffrey Toobin's book A Vast Conspiracy, the real story of the sex scandal that nearly brought down a president. The first season was based on another Toobin book, The Run of His Life, The People v. O.J. Simpson, with the second season, The Assassination of Gianni Versace, based on Maureen Orth's Vulgar Favors, Andrew Cunanan, Gianni Versace, and the largest failed manhunt in U.S. history. The all-star cast also includes Zeddy Falco as Hillary Clinton, Anthony Green as Al Gore, Billy Eichner as Mike Drudge, Kobe Smulders as Ann Coulter, Kathleen Turner as Susan Weber Wright, Margot Martindale as Lucianne Goldberg, and Mira Sorvina as Marcia Lewis. Sarah Burgess created the series, who is also executive producer alongside Ryan Murphy, Nina Jacobson, Brad Simpson, Brad Falchuk, Larry Karaszewski, Scott Alexander, Alexis Martin Woodall, and Sarah Paulson. Monica Lewinsky will serve as a producer alongside Henrietta Conrad and Jemima Khan. The real-life scandal first unfolded in January 1998 on the Drudge Report website, which was later picked up by mainstream media outlets like The Washington Post. While Clinton, who was in his second term as president at the time, denied the allegations at first, more and more evidence came to light. Such evidence included a semen-stained blue dress that Lewinsky had been encouraged to save without cleaning, by her one-time friend Linda Tripp. While Clinton continued to deny the affair, he ultimately came clean in August 1998, which led to his impeachment. Clinton was ultimately acquitted on both impeachment charges, and he ultimately served out the remainder of his term.